Bum, ba, bum, bum, ba, 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 ba.
We're
Welcome
back.
to the Zoom call. We're back.
The
We're
Zoom
back
call.
to Zoom calls.
I know.
Yeah. You guys want to say something embarrassing?
No. Yes.
I'm like an old man now.
Oh man.
I thought those were just
What is that?
bowling.
The tractor?
I
Too
thought,
much time driving your
I
tractor?
thought those were for bowling.
I was jacking
Support.
yesterday.
You were what?
Oh.
Bought a jackhammer.
Oh yeah.
Oh really?
So my dad wanted
gosh.
one. My dad wanted the nice one from Harbor Freight, which is, you guys, Kevin knows what Harbor Freight is, right?
I do. We went there.
Yeah. You know what Harbor Freight is. I feel like you know of Harbor Freight, but until you like live next to Harbor Freight, you don't really know what Harbor Freight is. But my dad wanted the big jackhammer because he does handyman stuff. My dad's done like everything. So I bought this like $600 66-pound Harbor Freight jackhammer because I've been doing some demolition, and I am not nearly as strong as I thought I was. And my wrists, I think, I'm actually a little bit worried, because apparently you can cause like nerve damage by like overexerting yourself, and my hands like do kind of get a little bit tingly, and the tendons are like really kind of.
That's what they say.
You'll recover.
So I really have been like having to be careful because I'm terrified, because it's like I've actually like I've never experienced anything like this where you kind of go too hard, and then you actually feel like
Gave yourself carpal tunnel in one day.
I think so, and so I am a little bit scared. I'm just sort of hoping it goes away after a couple of weeks.
No, it's like, you know, the first time you work out in a while, like if
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's what
and
I
then
keep
you're
telling
really
myself.
sore the first time.
Yeah,
And
but
then like
it's-
you keep doing it and you end up killing all those nerves that feel pain and you're okay.
Okay. So
No,
I'm just gonna keep going. Thanks, Kevin.
I want to say something nice, but I think it's a lifelong injury that's going to plague you until the day you die, unfortunately.
Oh,
And it's
thank
only going to
God.
get worse.
That's what I was hoping for. That means I'll just have to die sooner.
Yeah. Until the day you die, which could be this week. Could be
Yeah.
tomorrow.
So how is that? Did you feel powerful using a jackhammer?
No, especially with
No?
my now limp wrists. I felt like what I would do is I would get on the jackhammer.
It's like
it
shaking
kind of,
your hands around.
yeah, it's kind of like a nice massage for a little bit, but like it would go into the ground. It's easy going down, but then it would like, if it doesn't break the concrete, so you have to be
It just
careful
like
not to
shoots.
it just gets stuck. And so it's just like stuck in the concrete. And I'm like sitting there like trying
Oh.
to yank it out of the ground. I got about halfway through.
Any of those machines that just vibrate, they're just bad. Like whenever I had a really crappy lawnmower that I used as a kid, and I don't know what my dad did to it, but it just vibrated like crazy. And it was like when you would
He
be
ground
done.
down the blades himself, and they're uneven. And
I
he's
have
ready to
no-
break
yeah.
off and shoot through your legs.
Honestly, probably. He always got them out of the garbage. So
Oh,
I have
no.
no idea. But when I would be done mowing the lawn, it was only like half an hour. It's like you could feel the ache in your bones, and it would take a while for your hands to like
Wow.
feel normal again. So I
like
hated
get unnumb, kind of.
Yeah, like it would be that weird numb feeling.
It's
and then
like
on
you
top,
sat on your hand or something like that, and it's like just waking back up. It's like
Yeah.
that feeling.
except you never say it's just shaking your nerves or something.
Yeah.
Dude, that brings back like mowing lawn trauma from a kid. We had
Oh
like,
my God.
it's like, I don't know, I feel like every kid, or most kids, I guess if you don't live in an apartment, would complain about this, but we had like 3 lawns at my parents' house, and like they're not even like big lawns, they're just like weird long lawns, and one of them was up like 2 flights of stairs, so I had to drag the lawnmower upstairs to get to like the because we lived on like a hill. I just remember, no, childhood trauma. Who makes their kid drag a lawnmower up 2 flights of stairs every
Wait,
2
what?
weeks?
Wait, you had to bring it.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I
I
did
missed that. What's going on?
We had, so my parents' house, have you been to my parents' house?
No.
I haven't.
So it's like, it's on a hill, and there was a lawn in front of the house, but it was sort of split with like a walkway, so it's like 2 lawns. And there was like
okay.
a lawn kind of up in
It's
the
like
backyard.
it's like terraced or something.
Yeah, exactly,
Okay.
because it's so steep. And so to get to the lawn in the top yard, I had to drag the lawnmower upstairs.
Wow.
So I'd have to drag it like over a curb
That's just-
onto a walkway, and then
classic.
up more stairs, and then up. It was
And-
sucked. And when you're like a little kid, like probably middle school, you're not like, I was not a big kid. Like I'm way tall now, but Chelsea used to be the same height. She used to be taller than me. And like I grew all in high school. So I mean, like a tiny little kid, like scrawny little kid trying to drag a lawnmower upstairs.
I was going to complain about like me having to mow the lawn, but it's nothing compared to that. I'm just going to sound like a little whiny baby now.
Dude, did you have to weed whack too?
Every once in a while, yeah. And it was an electric one.
Did you
so,
have a dog?
Yeah.
Did you ever make the mistake of not
Yes.
picking up the dog shit?
Yeah. But luckily, we also had like a grapefruit tree. So I would like just run over a grapefruit, then it would smell good.
Okay.
And then it would be, you couldn't tell anymore.
This is gross, but I remember this is bringing back all sorts of like manual labor as a child trauma. I hit a dog shit with the weed whacker because the lawn was
I hit
too
a dog.
And did it just like...
Dude, it like splattered all over my face. It was so bad.
I hate the ones like the really moldy turds that when you hit them, they just kind of turn into a cloud.
God, that's,
how many times did you make that mistake?
Too many?
More than one.
Oh no!
It was easier to run them over than it was to pick them up.
I had video games to play, man. I had to I got to do it fast, and so I would just not want to pick up the dog poop, and or like sometimes, like you said, the lawn would be too long and you couldn't see it.
Yeah.
And so then you would be weed whacking, and you would because you have to weed whack the edge of a lawn because the lawnmower can't get to it, and then you hit, and it just because there's not that big of a shield on the weed whacker, it would just hit everywhere.
So, I have a question. Why is it that I feel like it's a thing? Like if you're like, how old were you when you were mowing the lawn?
10?
Yeah,
11?
so
that's pretty young.
No, I was like 11. So it's like, why is it that a lot of people, like if you wanted to use like a saw or a drill, they'd be like, no, that's dangerous. But you need to go use the lawnmower.
You want to know? I have an answer.
Why? Because the lawnmower.
It's very capitalistic, right? Where the parents don't
get
want
something
to mow
out
the
of
lawn,
it,
and they don't want to pay somebody to mow the lawn, and so it's worth subjecting their child to the danger of mowing the lawn.
I mean,
but if you want to use the drill, they're like, there's no benefit to the parent, and so they're like, no, don't use the drill, it's dangerous.
Good point. I did it when I was like 14 to 18, because before that we had a lawn service,
and they canceled it.
Yeah, well, we moved, and then they're just like, this is your job now.
God.
And then they had me do that with the pool too, but I did such a bad job. Like it turned green every other week, so they had to hire somebody.
Yeah, that's good. Good. That's a lesson to any of the children who are watching this. Do a really bad job at the chore, and they won't ask you to do it again. You gotta do like a really bad job.
Like a really bad, so bad that they think there might be something wrong with you.
Yeah.
But you have to make it look like you really did try.
You tried really hard, you did really bad, and then you'll never have to do it again.
I don't know. They might have to go to like special school, or they might hire
like try
military school.
No, they might hire like
military school.
What's up? Or bring you to the doctor to try to figure out if you have some sort of problem. Like you might pay for it in a different way.
He's got terminal brain damage.
They're like, hey, we've taught this guy the same, like he can't learn. Like he clearly has some issue. And then you're just stuck going to all these specialists.
I bought a bunch of DeWalt cordless tools, like these nuts cordless tools, and oh my god, dude, lithium batteries and the brushless motors are so awesome.
They are.
Dude, I bought this DeWalt trimmer, this like electric it's not a pruner, it's like a clipper.
Yeah.
Like the kind that goes like that?
No, that's a hedger. So you know, like the handheld clippers, it's like scissors, but for small branches.
Yeah, they're like, okay.
So DeWalt has,
but it's like it automatically like ratchets down.
Oh my god, this thing would cut your finger off. It's horrifying.
It wouldn't even know it's there.
It's like it goes, and it's like,
oh, that's pretty cool.
And so I just been cutting a bunch of bushes and stuff with it. But the power density of modern tools is. What do they say, like people being vindictive, like the student loan stuff where it's like, oh, well, I paid for my loan, so I don't want them, or I don't want people to get their free student loan paid for now because I had to pay for all my student loans. It's like, right now I feel like as a kid, like, oh, I wish I had all this new cordless stuff as a kid because holy crap, it's so much lighter.
I know.
It lasts so much longer. Like, if you're
like the battery powered,
yes.
Yeah.
Like you're dragging around this like 100-pound lawnmower, and now you can get
have
something
you seen
that's
the
like
electric lawnmowers, like the battery powered ones?
It's amazing.
Yeah, they're like silent.
I didn't get one of those because
Your yard's too big now. You need like
Yeah, I just kidded out. I got the like 60-volt blower and stuff like that. Dude, the leaf blower is so powerful. It's so awesome.
really like
Yeah.
are they better than? I know people hate on corded power tools a lot, but I mean they're pretty powerful.
It depends.
I think cordless power tools can put out more peak power than corded tools.
I think
now.
they can.
Because you're talking like you don't have the duration, but like you're talking 60 volts worth of lithium batteries, dude. Like hundreds of amps.
It still doesn't make sense, right? Because it's like
It's just, I guess the duration is the debate, because I know for table saws, for a lot of, like, if you look them, there are battery-powered table saws, but it's like, if you do look at what I think some are getting better
I had
now.
a battery-powered circular saw. It was
that's
garbage.
good.
This was like 8 years ago.
I have a DeWalt battery-powered circular saw, and it's fine. But if you do look at, I'm pretty sure, because I have a DeWalt plugged-in one, corded, and I have a battery. The corded one, I think, has more, like it. I don't know if it spins faster and has more force. So it's like,
Yeah,
I got it because I had to do. I think the blade is a bit bigger too. I could be wrong, but I think that it allows for a bigger blade. Some of the power tools do have more power when they're corded.
So hear this out. The jackhammer is like 1600 watts. I think it's like 1500 watts. To achieve 1600 watts with 60 volts, you'd need 27 amps. You're telling me that some of these cordless tools are not pulling 27 amps at 60 volts? I think the cordless tools are pulling like
more.
a lot. Maybe.
Well, I've got like a 24 volt drill, so that means it would have to be pulling like 5 times the amount of amps to do the same power as a like plug-in drill.
Like I said, I think it just depends, because I was also looking at like corded versus battery.
I think it has to do with
shovels.
like the torquiness of like the different types of motors.
Yeah.
It's like the brushless versus whatever AC synchronous motor, or I mean they're both brushless. Or no, they're not. Anyway.
Yeah, I think I'm looking at like one guy who just says about like the corded versus battery, just DeWalt table saw, and it seems to be, I think he's like, he doesn't notice a difference. It's just how long it lasts for.
Yeah.
So like a lot of people on job sites just bring multiple batteries and then plug the battery charger in the wall.
You start to really notice a difference, like with this jackhammer. I've got a like 100-foot like 12 gauge extension cord or something. And even that, it like the light that's attached to the extension cord also just dims every time you turn it on. Like there's just the amount, like wall power is super powerful, but the amount of like load on the conductor is so high that like you can't get the power to where you want it to be.
Yeah, like voltage dropping the extension cord kind of brings it down.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest problem with corded power tools. Yeah, I mean I've just been doing demolition, and it sucks. It really sucks.
It does.
I have some guys coming on Monday or next week, but it's like raining like hell here. It's been such a disaster, dude. It's so muddy.
Oh yeah, isn't there a crazy rainstorm going on right now? Like 6 inches of rain this week in California.
Today is like yesterday and today are like the dry days, and then it's supposed to start tonight, I think, again. I'm a little worried. I bought the tractor and posted a second channel video about the tractor, and people asking why I bought the tractor. I don't know. I just bought a tractor. So I went and bought like 2 diesel canisters. So I've got like 10 gallons of diesel plus the tractor's full of diesel just in case it does get really bad. Then I can charge people $20 to pull them out of the mud.
You could build up a little dam around your house if it starts flooding.
Dig a moat.
Or like falling down the side of the mountain.
Trench a channel.
Yeah, a moat.
Yeah. You
could have a lazy river around your house, man.
No, a raging river. Okay, so like something interesting that you don't really realize because it's not super frequent that you experience it, but diesel cans versus gas cans, right? Like how do you carry diesel versus gas? Do you know?
I mean, what is it, a different type of plastic?
No, they make yellow cans.
Yeah, oh yeah, I knew that.
Yeah.
And then the blue cans are kerosene, I think.
I didn't know that. No, I just knew that. So all I know is that when I was working at one of my first jobs, they had a bunch of gas cans, and the pressure washer I was using needed more gas, and so I put more gas in it, but then it wasn't running.
Oh.
And so they had written really poorly in Sharpie on the side of the gas can diesel, but it was like diesel, like gas is like a solvent, right? Like it'll just like eat Sharpie, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, then they called me stupid, and I was like, what do you mean I'm stupid? I'm not putting diesel in a red gas can with a Sharpie that's just like completely eroded by
the old trick. You have to you write the Sharpie and then you slap packing tape over it.
It should cover it. Oh no, Kevin! At least you can read it, and it's on the handle. That's actually a much better place to put it.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah.
It is a classic thing, though, just in the lab in general, where
Kevin,
you write,
where are
you just Sharpie.
Kevin, where are you putting that? What did you do?
Right there, just in case if I need it later.
You might need it.
Right there.
For the squirrels.
What are you using diesel for?
Starting a fire. Oh, but
really?
I bought it for the rocket video to pump into the rocket, like as a fuel.
Okay.
And now we just use it to start fires.
Okay.
But you start fires with diesel?
Yeah, I'm not a man enough to make like a good fire with kindling and tinder. I just put the big logs on and soak them in diesel, and then it starts.
I guess that's true. Because it's better than gasoline, where you just get a big puff and...
Hey, diesel doesn't explode, right? It just burns.
No, it doesn't. But it'll still like, still don't want to like pour it on the fire when it's burning.
Really?
Kind of thing.
Or Vsauce music plays.
Oh yeah, I have that, but I got to figure out a better way to mount it.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Wait,
Michael,
oh, yeah.
who did the Vsauce podcast, gave us these records of Moon Men, which is the name of the song that is like the Vsauce meme, made by a guy named Jake Chudnow. And he gave us these records after we were recording. Did he mention it when we were recording? I don't remember. It was a couple weeks ago.
Well, yeah, he did, but he didn't say that he's going to give them to us.
Oh, he didn't? Well, he did. And I am so happy. It's so cool. It's a single record, and it has one song on it, and it's just
I think it has
the Vsauce song. Well, on the backside, I think there's like the extended version or something.
I also have I have this frame. Do you recognize these?
What is that?
These are the panty vending machines.
Like, it looks like a butterfly, like one of those weird bug, like the pressed plates.
That's what I'll tell anybody that comes over and asks what it is.
Nigel, stop looking at memes.
I'm not.
What are you looking at?
I'm doing something absolutely horrible.
This is why we need to do the podcast in person. You can't look at memes.
They're not memes. It's actually what happened.
You have to share your memes with the class.
Yeah, you have to share your memes with the class.
The meme it's not a meme. I'll explain to you what it is right after I type one thing. Okay, I'm done.
Oh my God! Who are you sending emails to?
Nobody. It's horrible. So you know the beautiful website LastPass.
Yeah.
And how they're kind of, there's a lot of, do you know about the controversy with them right now?
No.
Oh, so basically somebody, they sent out an email going, oh, there was a security breach, but don't worry, it's all under control. And then people were like, what did they get? And they were very like ambiguous. They're like, don't worry, it's under control. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's like someone telling you there's a problem and you ask any details, like, don't worry, it's under control. You're like, yeah, but can you please give me details? So finally, very recently, they just admitted that the hackers actually downloaded their entire database. So they have all the details of every customer. So they have the encrypted data and the unencrypted data without
How do they have what unencrypted data? They
that would be like
storing
it would be like your name, your email address, and a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
So, but here's the thing, though, is that apparently they can also see unencrypted data, which is like the websites that you have in your vault, but they can't see passwords or usernames. But they can know that whatever email you signed up with to LastPass is associated. You have an account of some sort with some email at these websites.
Okay.
So, but it's completely offline, and they've kind of gone. They haven't said anything about it. But the fear now is that if the people who have it know, hey, they go, we recognize William Osman's email, they can just decide to brute force that one. And because it's not online, it's all offline, it's just a matter of computing power if they can guess your password correctly.
Good luck. You're going to need a lot. I have long pass. I
Well, my
think that was
passwords are
sort
really
of the-
long.
Yeah, my so the way I actually I have Dashlane on my computer and LastPass on my phone. Don't ask. I don't know why.
Always got to keep them guessing.
That way I can have double the data breaches. I basically have like obscenely long
Oh, yeah.
master password.
You know that
It's like
I don't even know what
ridiculously
mine
long.
is. Like, if,
I don't
if
know
the hacker
either.
could tell me what it, if they ever figure it out, let me know.
It's
Well, you probably should know what your master password is.
No, I did it for a sponsorship and then I forgot it.
Oh, okay.
I
Like,
don't.
I don't
mean,
actually.
I haven't memorized my
I
master
started using
pass.
Google. So
I
Sorry,
took a
LastPass.
word. I took a single word, and then for each letter of the word, made a sentence. So, like, imagine dog, and then my sentence would be
dogs.
dongle, oogling, garage, or something that makes sense, though. You know.
Yeah.
And then I mix in some other stuff with it, and so it's like it's a longer word than that, and it ends up being like an obscene number of characters.
You probably won't have an issue. It's just that what happened, I was like, I mean, to explain what I was doing while my life was bad, was everything was in LastPass. So I'm like, you know what? LastPass is also kind of janky in some ways. So I'm like, if they're just going to be like this, I'm piecing out on them. So I was switching the service. But in theory, like the vault that I had with them, all the passwords are there. So I was like, I have to change I'm just going to change all my passwords. But I have I think actually almost 400 accounts. Don't ask. So
I think some of them will let you. I think Dashlane might let you automatically do it. It doesn't
Some
work for everything. Though.
But there are so many broken websites, and I literally spent, I think it was on Saturday or Friday, I spent 8 to 10 hours straight just changing passwords.
Why didn't you have like one of your workers do
Some
this?
of them were problematic. Like they were
like porn accounts.
No, I'm saying they were like they were like my government websites, and to change the password, like you needed my phone, and like there was also some weird things about it. So I had to go in and fix a bunch of security issues that really should have been fixed a long time ago.
Yeah, I think that like passwords are probably one of the like biggest jokes in existence because every sort of security measure that people take to prevent like unauthorized access to your accounts always has a way to circumnavigate. Like there's always backdoors. Like instead
What's
of
your
just,
mother's maiden name?
right? Instead of just ingraining into people that you need to remember your passwords and we're going to take this seriously because you can't. I mean, they leak them all the time on accident or on purpose. Who knows? Or they keep them in plain text.
Oh yeah, that triggers me.
Like half of the accounts that I have, because I don't pay for Dashlane, so I have like limited at like 50 passwords, and so every once in a while I'll go through. I'm like, okay, I haven't used this account in a while, and I delete it. I'm a cheap ass instead of paying $2 a month. I probably should just pay for it because it's caused me problems at this point. But I will basically. God, what was I saying? It was about the password security. Like I will use the back door to get into some of my accounts, if that makes any sense. Like you make an account, they make you make a password, and I never plan on using that password again. I will only reset password every time I enter the account when I do it every 6 months.
Yeah.
Right? Why is that a viable alternative to just remembering the password? It's insane, right?
I
Like,
don't
why
know.
not the login process be via email?
I mean,
I'm not saying it should be. I'm just saying
There's
it's
a lot
so
of
stupid.
websites that kind of do that already, and I hate it. But it's always like the AliExpress always does this to me. Like every time I log on, it says we need to verify your identity.
Oh, I
They
hate
send
that.
me a code, then I had to like.
But
I
Kevin, you have
get the code,
59
you send it to the
seconds.
website. Yeah, you have
Yeah.
59 seconds, and it's like a timer that counts down. And they actually, I think they text it to you or they send it to your email address. So it's
How
a
often
pain
do
in
you
the
have to log
butt
in,
either
though?
way. Huh?
Every time you go to the website, they'll make
Every
you do
single
it.
time.
But
You
like,
know, actually-
this is because people have such shit security practices.
So I would
This is
say-
It's
like,
also like I don't care if somebody gets my
I know.
AliExpress account. I could care less if like half of these accounts get compromised.
I know.
The only ones I care about are Google,
Yeah.
my bank account, and like that's it. I don't care about any of these other websites.
And that's why I find that, I mean, if you're going to have anything secure, have your email secure. Because if you lose your email, you kind of lose everything. And also don't use the exact same password for everything. That's also another pro tip.
yeah, I just have had enough experiences. I don't learn my lesson 100%, but when you have enough like total failure experiences where you're like never again, this was a nightmare. I think that there's a couple of steps you can take that aren't that much work to like greatly improve your quality of life, of not having to like worry about like, even seeing a lot of people who, get dragged into like phishing scams. 'Cause there's like some really clever phishing scams for like YouTube accounts. Like I think like some security guy just got stung by one. And it's like, how does that happen? Well, whatever I think for him the case was, it was a sponsor. It was like a totally legit seeming sponsor, and they were going back and forth, and they sent him some document, and it was a freaking virus.
But he ran the EXE. Bruh, do not run an EXE.
But maybe he didn't realize
there was
it.
an EXE
They said
it
was they named it as a PDF, and I think they changed the icon to a PDF, but it wasn't EXE. And I'm like, that's the first thing I'll check. Like, I don't care who it's from.
That's
I don't trust anybody, no matter what.
You really can't fault him on that, because that's like some actual like evil. Because do you know that Windows by default hides extensions? Why? Why? It's ugly.
I don't know.
It's gross. Ew, ickies.
Like,
icky
show
file
me
names.
I want to see what's it associated with.
I always activate it.
So I don't know. I think that like for me, I have hardware keys. So a couple people have them. I have like, I have one, someone else has one. They've got like a security deposit box. You have to plug the key into the computer when you log in.
I mean, it does prevent, like, basically with a hardware key, it means someone has to physically rob you.
They have to physically steal my account.
And if someone's willing to do that, you're screwed. Because
they
it's
deserve
like
it at that point.
What do they call it?
It's like you can have
$5
the best
rent attack.
Well, you can have the best security, but if someone decides to just break into your house, steal your computer, and it's like you're like, okay, like there's not that much, or they just beat you and force you to open your phone, and you're just like, okay.
The problem is like if you have it open to digital attacks, the pool of people who are going to mess with you is way bigger. Yeah.
Whereas like a targeted attack's pretty wild. In person.
Up until recently, if you go onto your like Google autofill data, you didn't need a password to get all of those passwords. So you could just open up Chrome on any computer and go to autofill passwords, and then it would show you all the passwords.
Yeah, that was a classic. And if you
this is why nobody takes passwords seriously.
And it's only like I think in the past year that
because they tied it to your account. It used to be computer based, and now it's account based.
Security is such a joke. What do they say? This is the whole safety third thing. If everything is safe, nothing is safe. Like, are passwords safe? No.
That's why I don't, dude. That's why you say you know your I don't even know my master password. So if someone kidnaps me and tries to beat me for it, I can't even tell them.
Google tells me right now that I have 26 compromised passwords.
Oh God,
26 compromised and 194 weak passwords.
Kevin, so
I don't care what somebody's going to steal my Pandora account or my all you gotta do. I am Gur. You just gotta pilots.
So I was reading about like the LastPass stuff, and the danger isn't necessarily that they're gonna take those accounts. Like they were talking about it, how if you have some compromised passwords for garbage accounts, or even them just knowing what accounts you go on, they can build a profile where they create phishing scams, and they can target them to you. And they can make very, very, very tricky and well-made scams if you're a high-profile target. If they see that you have, if they find out what your AdSense account is and that you have a YouTube account, they're like, hey, this guy might be worth putting effort into. Somebody on my business account did sign up to like a bunch of, sketchy websites. That's just like whatever. I'm like, I'm not going to confirm my email. I'll just delete it. The thing that pisses me off is when I went to go sign up for like a game. But it goes, sorry, someone already chose a username for me, and it's garbage. And they go, you can't change it, or you have to pay to change it. I'm like, I didn't sign up for this.
What was the name?
I have no idea. They're always crappy. It'd be like Goblin Monster 22. And I'm like, I don't want to.
That's a pretty cool name.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Some of them are just bad. Like, I'm just like, why? I wanted to use this email, but now I have to like pay to get my own username.
You want to know something funny? What? So you remember when we were gonna do the live show, Safety Third live show?
Oh no!
Yeah.
So there was a
Someone
domain.
emailed me.
Somebody bought I guess we let the domain lapse and somebody bought it and it just redirected to like porn.
No way.
yeah. So
I think
deleted
that
it
that
from the
is
description.
that must be
So
something.
I would say at one point the Safety Third podcast channel had a video that had a link that went directly to a porn website.
By the time I saw the email though and went to look, it was gone. So I guess you acted pretty quickly.
I did, yeah. I was like, actually, somebody sent it to the Cat Warehouse customer support.
And they're like, "This is But there's something. I feel like it's happening more because I was changing all my passwords and changing services, and my brother was too. And he bought socks off a website, just like he was a cute cat, like whatever. He wanted to go change his password,
Cat Warehouse.
and he just clicks on it, and it was just a porn site. But it was a new porn site every time you click the link. And my brother's like,
that's actually awesome.
My brother's like, I guess I don't have to change my password. Like the names were so funny. Like the website's names were all freehookup69.com or something. Like they're just, and every time you click on it, it was just
automatically generated.
Yeah, it was just some random like spam website, and it happened to me too. I was trying to change a bunch of websites, and someone just snagged the domain.
I think that the digital experience is such a nightmare. Like you make one wrong step or get really unlucky. Like, I mean, you saw me screeching the other day about my computer. My computer just took a shit.
Yeah, that happens.
I've never experienced anything like as bad as this before. Like I was running my computer, it was on, I was doing things. I was in like Fusion 360 or something like that, and it just froze. It just completely locked up. So I shut it off, turn it back on. Windows logo to boot comes up, and then it blue screens. Every single time, blue screens.
Hardware failure?
No, like it was saying like registry error, and everything I did to fix it. What was happening was, if I reinstalled Windows on a different drive on the computer, and I tried to access the folder directly to pull my files off, and it was giving me like user access, like you don't have permission to access.
Oh, it does that, and I hate it. Yeah.
And so what I like the problem apparently is there's like a registry failure, like where the registry gets corrupted, and so you can't change permissions or you can't give yourself ownership of it because it's just fundamentally broken. It wouldn't let me write to the drive. It says there's no write access, and so the only thing I could do was I was in the recovery mode. I booted command prompt from recovery mode, then opened Notepad. I saw this trick, and you could try to save the Notepad document, and when you're going to save it, you get a folder, kind of like the save dialog, and you can copy and paste files from there. So I was copying, but then I just used Test Disk also, which is an amazing piece of software to scan the drive and pull files up. There was still there was some serious corruption. I don't know what happened. It was like some cosmic rays came down and blasted my computer, but it just basically.
Is your main drive a hard drive or a solid state?
It's solid state. It's everything is fine, and I have network storage and everything where most of my stuff is. But like the stuff I'm actively working on is on the computer because you're not planning on it taking a shit. But that's kind of like my experience with computers in general is that everything is good until it's bad, and then it's really bad. Like it's not just kind of bad; it's really bad. And so it's worth the little bit of extra work to try to make sure it never becomes really bad. Because trying to back out of really bad is an order of magnitude more work than putting the work up front to make it not happen. Like I was thinking now what I should do is I should like save an image to my network every single day from my computer.
I mean,
so, every single day.
That's what backup does.
I couldn't do Windows backup or anything. It has to. I would have had to do like a full image.
You could get like stuff for the NAS. You have a Synology, right?
Yeah.
The Synology will do it.
I can do a full image backup, so it backs up the entire 2 terabyte.
Yeah, entire everything.
Yeah. Okay, I should do that. What's it called? Is it Synology?
If you go in if you log on to the NAS and you go onto the utilities, it's in there. Just search for backup. I think it's something backup for business, and it just saves everything.
So and then I have to install something on the PC as well?
I think you just have to give it access to the computer.
Yeah. Okay.
Like share access.
Okay. Yeah, I should do that. Because then what you do is you just completely overwrite the current disk image, and then you've got your computer back to before the registry failure.
Yeah.
I would do this too, though, like, because I've been messing around with computers since I was probably like 10, when they were significantly worse, where it was really common for just driver errors, things to crash, and you're just dead. I don't store. Basically, I treat like the C drive as
a bomb.
Yeah, well, it's borderline a server. So it's like I don't do any work, or it's literally always wipeable. There's not a single valuable file on the C drive. Everything's on externals or secondary drives, and then those are if it's important, it's backed up. So if my computer,
how fast are you on the network now? How fast is your network?
I'll work directly off solid states usually.
So you can't work directly off like
you can
network
work
storage?
off the NAS if you want.
Yeah, but like what I've noticed is I have like I think my NAS is like 1 gig.
Yeah,
and 1 gig is just enough to be annoying.
It's not perfect, but it's like, for example, like Zach and Reggie, they only work off the NAS. They don't even have.
How fast is, because I was thinking of doing 10 gig, but 10 gig is like, it would cost.
I think that if you're using hard drives, I think that those are the limiting factor and not the.
If you get NAS SSDs, I think that would be a huge upgrade.
The NAS has the right speed. I think it's the network speed that causes problems. Because you can edit off a hard drive on your computer.
The problem is if you get a NAS drive, they're all 5,400 RPMs. That's like really slow for a drive.
But they're in RAID.
You're right.
And I've got a buffer. There's an SSD, like a terabyte SSD buffer in the NAS.
Interesting. I have so much hard drives that I didn't rate it because it would cost me $8 quadrillion.
I spent like $2,500, and honestly, I think that was probably the best $2,500 I've ever spent. And for 40 terabytes with 10 redundant, so it's 30 terabytes.
Did you buy NAS drives or just regular drives?
About server drives.
Okay.
10 terabyte server drives, and I bought 2 extra. So for $2,500, I got a Synology. I got 6 10 terabyte discs of different brands.
Yeah.
I got 2 of each. I got 3 of each. So the NAS only has 4 drives in it. I have 2 spares. So when it shits out, because I only have 1 redundant, I can just throw a new one in immediately. Like the whole thing is just there.
It's very good.
This is what I'm talking about. Like the day that RAID shits out, one of those discs shits out, is going to be panic trying to find another drive, right? So I just spent the extra $1,000.
You're going to feel so good that you set up a RAID configuration.
It's just like, how much money is the data on that NAS worth to me? It's a lot more than the cost of 2 extra hard drives.
I don't have.
So
RAID.
I spent $300 for recovering that SD card from Florida.
I just want to say,
hard drives can write faster than one gigabit.
Oh, really?
Okay. It's like 100 to 150 megabytes. Is what a hard drive can do.
So it's like, but that's about the same thing then.
Faster.
Yeah, it's like basically but that's one hard drive's.
Yeah, and if you're RAID, then you're faster.
So like just reading information is going to completely saturate your 1 gig connection.
Yeah, exactly. And you're mostly just reading.
But in practice, I don't think you could ever get that full, like, if you copy files from your SD card to your hard drive, it's going to be like 40 megabytes per second if it's like a disk drive.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm so like, I have so many other things to do than deal. Like, I've spent days, maybe weeks of my life doing this, like dealing with the aftermath of computers taking a shit. Like, this is probably... Anything I know about computers is just being a kid in middle school trying to deal with, some virus you downloaded on accident by trying to download something you shouldn't have been downloading.
I would just never do anything valuable on the C drive. Like, I was saying that I would be late for this podcast.
That's easier said than done.
No, but I said I was going to be late for this podcast because I reformatted my computer today. I started it at 2, and by 2:45 it was all done. There's nothing on it. Everything's on external. Right. So I didn't reformat it in 2 years because I was lazy.
But then you got to install the new, software and drivers and everything again. It's kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, that takes longer, but it's like about an hour or something. It's usually not like that horrible.
Yeah, I really should probably just sit down. Like because I'm building a little office right now, and I think once we are retrofitting it, I think I'll go ahead and just sort of sit down and really spend the time to figure it out. Maybe I should call the LTT channel and see if they'll help me build a robust network system out. Like,
network took me weeks to set up, and
how much did it cost?
I kind of want to show. I can't show you. I'll go take a photo of it.
Okay.
Okay.
No,
This is part of
it's
like
actually diseased
I'm looking
right
at
now.
Ubiquity stuff.
Oh, it's
like,
Ubiquity.
to set up
That's
like
what I
a
have.
10 gig Ubiquity network, like to
I did
run
not
into
buy
a
their
couple
Switch,
computers.
I'll be back in 1 second.
You didn't?
No.
I like it's so expensive to hit these high speeds. The hardware is so expensive. Like even the router I have right now is like $600, so I could get the 2 gigs directly into my computer. Because even the stock router for this fiber connection couldn't do it.
It's only 1 gig.
It's 1 gig out. Yeah,
I know, because I got that. The same thing, the Frontier 2 gig, but then the router, it can really only
1
support...
gig. 1 gig.
Because they do it through coax, right?
Yeah. So I had to run Ethernet to the box. But then even to get a router to have a...
You're not even able to tell what's going on.
That is so shit, Nigel. I can't see it at all. What is it?
I can kind
So
of see it. Hold
is
it
it a
up.
server
that's
rack?
the server box. You can't see anything because it's out of focus. 1 second.
Okay, that's much better. Oh, you have a whole little like
a whole cabinet.
Yeah, rack. Nice rack, Nigel.
You
They
gotta
always
blur
have a
that out
rack.
though. I have passwords on
Nigel's
that.
showing us a picture. You're all zoomed in.
That's
Actually, don't
okay.
leave it like this.
I'll just be blurry for the rest of it.
Wait, was there actually passwords on it?
It's a password, but I don't. Yeah, there is a
Okay.
password.
Like we just.
But
the
it-
poor editor
but
just.
There is a password on it, but I think it's only a local password. Like you'd have to be in my. He's zooming in on me. You'd have to be
I love
in my
this.
network for it to do anything.
There used to be this subreddit called like Dox Me or something like that.
Oh
And
no.
you could just give them like, either from your Reddit account, or you could kind of give them like one seed and see how far they could go. And the subreddit is shut down now, but I
kinda
just did it off
cool.
my Reddit account, and they figured out like, that I'm the backyard scientist, and then they figured out like everything about me, like stuff that was I
Are
had
they
no
posting
idea.
it publicly, or are they just posting it in messages?
Messages.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is kind of cool though, because there's some people in the Discord server that have, they'll it's still creepy, but like it could be worse. They'll figure out, where you live, and then they'll show you how they did it. And it's like, I do appreciate it because it kind of makes you realize how easy it is. But also at some point, a long time ago, I just sort of gave up. Like, what are you gonna do?
On Google, somebody like set my house. You know how you could like set businesses and places?
No.
Yes.
Oh no.
They figured out my address,
evil.
and they said backyard scientist house, and if you just typed that in, it would like autofill, and then you could find it.
I hate that. I feel like it's hard to describe to people how uncomfortable it is to have a bunch of people trying to figure out where you live.
I know.
Like, I got something in the mail one time, and I was just like, I have a P.O. box explicitly for stuff like this. And I was like freaking out, like, who sent this to me? Like, what is the... And then I realized later on that it was a friend that had sent it. They just didn't say anything. Because it was like an AliExpress, a cat toy.
Just receive the
Yeah.
gift and enjoy it.
I did enjoy it. It was for Jimmy. It was like one of those electric like flopping fishes. And it turns out it was a friend. It was David that had bought it, and he just didn't say anything. And so
It is pretty creepy. And then like I feel like if that happens, you also like you definitely don't want to publicly ask because then you're giving recognition. So you kind of just have to like personally reach out to people.
I remember Simone years ago. She said that someone like hand delivered a package to
Really?
her place she was living at, and she had a P.O. box, and they didn't even ship it. They literally dropped it off. And like, what a like, it's not a power move, but it's like a creep power move of like,
Yeah.
I know where you live. Here's something. Like, way to take a wholesome gesture and make it super creepy. Like, there's no reason to show up.
Well, there is a reason.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but it's
To be creepy.
I've got a couple right here.
a couple.
So I just got one from I made this induction heater video on like how to make an induction heater, and the guy wanted more information, and like I didn't see his messages. Like I guess he sent me messages on Instagram or something. I never responded. So he found my house, he found my address, and wrote me a letter. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I should probably respond to him in case he decides to kill me. So I found his email that he sent me, and I responded through the email. And then I got another one from some kid. Editor, can you blur everything out except for his name on the address? the return address right here. It says, what does it say? I can't read it.
It
says a guy who made the AIME. It's like a math test, like a placement test.
He didn't even want to put his own name on the letter.
He didn't put his own name on it. And then he
doesn't want you to know who he is, but he's absolutely
so
okay.
Kevin, what you need to do,
privacy.
I think what you need to do is find out
put his name.
You find out where he is, you find out where he lives, and send him a letter.
Well, he had his return address on there, just not his name. So I don't know.
That's so funny. That's so
send one back and put it as say a guy who knows where you live.
I think the only reason you'd ever be allowed to come to my house unwarranted or uninvited is if you like moved next to me. That's probably the only time I'd be okay with it. It's like if you were willing to go through the effort to move right next to me, like just down the street, then it maybe would be okay.
The thing that I find interesting though is if the guy made the whole effort to move there, that'd be weird. But it's like if he happened to be in the neighborhood, let's say he just went, oh hey, Will lives here. I find that if I were in that person's perspective, they become significantly less likely just because it's their neighborhood. And they're like, I don't want to be weird with my neighbors if that's like, an encroachment. And also it's the mentality of, oh, he lives right there. Like, I don't need to, I can go whenever I want to. Yeah, and then you never do.
And it's also a lot less creepy when
you're
that
like,
happens,
I'm your next door neighbor.
In my neighborhood, they're like, they'll come by my house and yell, backyard scientist, and then run away.
You know what will happen if you do that? You will realize that I'm just a normal dude and not nearly as exciting as you thought.
I know. I'm like out there weed whacking, and they're like,
and you're just like, I had a friend that I used to work with, my old boss. His son helped us with the cat certificates, like boxing them up. And he's like a really big fan. He watches he's a fan basically of all of us and Alan and Jake Laser. And so he's like super excited to help do this and just hang out. And that's what he said to me. He's like, you're kind of just like one of my dad's friends. Just like a normal guy. And I'm like, what do you expect? Like, it's if I was full crackhead, every minute of the day, everybody would hate me.
I mean, it is this weird thing where it's like, I've had it before where like you bump into somebody, like let's say it's like a grocery store, and the person's like, "It's crazy that you just like go to the grocery store too." I'm like, where
I'd starve to death.
Where else do I get food? Like, I think I don't.
Well, I thought you get 7-Eleven, you get the hot dog.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, but what do you think? It's like what the moment you have any public notoriety, you have to buy a food service, and you don't leave your house. Like you stay in your house, you don't leave. And services are just red. Like you just are completely insulated from society. Like it makes zero sense. And like the thing too is like no matter who you are, regardless of like your status, I mean, unless I guess you're like the president or something, it's like you still have to go and get your license renewed, like in person. Like there's still like fundamental things that you can't even send a service. You probably could if you're really...
You got to go to the dentist in person.
Yeah, like you have to...
There's no way the dentist is coming to you.
Well, it's like if you have any medical procedure, you just have to go to the hospital. It's like you can't just be like, oh no, doctors, build an... Oh, I mean, you probably could if you're rich enough.
Build an
ER in my house. It's just like you fundamentally cannot just disconnect from society. And I'm like, I wouldn't want to live a life where I just, aren't just like a regular guy.
The other day, building a forklift adapter. I'm almost done. Dude, I spent like a day. Dude, arc welding. Have you ever arc welded before?
I want to.
It takes so long. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Dude,
wait, I want to.
You have to weld, and you have to chip the slag off because that flux forms like the protective barrier over it.
Wait, are you like stick welding?
I'm stick welding, yeah.
Oh.
I'm like, because stick welding is like really good.
I'm trash at it, and I hate it.
I'm not good at it, but I can do it. I took a class in community college, and so I've got like a few dozens of hours maybe of just running beats straight
Oh, really?
down. Yeah, I can do flat stick weld for days. Like if you give me do like a one rip stick weld, I can do it really well. But if you want me to start doing anything fancier or like
are you having to like build up this weld like
so I'm like really building up, but you have to clean the shit out of it. And I think I think you don't want to use abrasive stuff. So you don't want to use like a grinding disc to clean them,
like acid,
because it will like embed particles in it, and then when you weld over it, it causes problems. And I was like trying to figure, I'm like, why am I getting it? Like, why is it so pitted? Why am I getting these, like, when it like bubbles, it like creates these like almost a lava rock looking welds?
Yeah, it's like metal foam.
And I was like, I think I remember that you're not supposed to use abrasive, so I switched to a wire wheel. Which holy shit, dude, wire wheels are horrible. They're like, there's little metal wires stuck in everything because they just
like
break
in your
off.
clothes.
Oh my god!
And if you put your hand next to it, they can stick into you.
Yes, that's the poster child for PPE. Like, if you're using a wire, if you're using anything that spins, if you're in the garage, if you wake up in the morning, put safety goggles on, for Christ's sake.
Especially with a wire wheel.
Yeah.
One time I was using one, and like I was all done, and I went to go take off my jacket. It was like stuck to my skin.
Embedded. Yeah.
And I had like a wires embedded into my skin and hooked onto the jacket.
Yep.
And it was like a half-inch in my skin.
Yep, it's bad. Anyways, I was at the steel yard. I was buying the scrap steel, and a kid recognized me and came up to me at the steel yard.
Nice.
Which I thought was really weird because there was like nobody at the steel yard. It's just like an industrial place.
Nice.
But,
did he give you any discounts on your steel?
No, he was looking for steel too. I don't know what he was doing. Him and his mom were there, and they're like, "Where's the scrap stuff?" And I was like, "Oh, I think it's just on the shelves over there. That's where I've been taking it from." And you just weigh it on the scale and then tell them how much you have.
Oh, really? They do it all by pound, like.
Yeah, by the pound.
That's
yeah.
nice.
It's super cheap too. But
Yeah.
I just want to show you something before I forget. Kevin, I bought this. I feel like you'd appreciate it.
Oh, you bought one of those.
It's pretty fun.
That's cool. Is that like the one that we saw at Alan's house?
Well, this one's more continuous, so you can like. Oop! Wait.
Oh yeah, his was like pop, pop, pop.
How does it?
I would
How does
love
it ground itself?
I have no idea how any of this works.
I'd like to get a fly with that.
It's funny because if you put it at
Like
a certain rate,
a fly on the wall,
you can't see it properly
Fly.
on the camera. The 30 FPS.
No, I can see it.
I guess maybe
But, oh yeah, it is.
It's probably
fading in and
missing
out.
every other.
it's kind of funny.
Wow.
I'm not brave enough to touch it yet.
You were like a sucker for those like as seen on TV things, or
As seen in Alan's house.
as seen in Alan's house.
That's sweet though. Like, you know how stoked little 8-year-old Nigel would be?
Dude,
Holy shit.
I like
you
it
can't
now.
buy one of those because then you'll never make one. You gotta you need that motivation to like try to figure out how to build it as a kid.
No, I figured out that people can make things way better than
What's
I can.
funny is
because they spend their whole lives doing it.
what is funny though?
Like, could I do
the
it?
case is-
Yes. Could I get it? Make
Well, you
it look
look at the
literally
case.
built
small?
a Tesla coil in your garage.
It's 3D printed.
Yeah, but I could never
which I think is cool.
make it look nice like that.
I don't know who made it.
Oh, it's a
yeah,
3D
it's a
printed
3D
case?
printed case.
But that is a good question. What is like the ground situation?
Where does it?
Is
Is
it-
it
I mean,
just
it's plugged
going
into the wall,
Oh, okay.
but it's an
Run on
ungrounded
battery?
plug.
Because the power supply.
Well, the neutral will act as a,
Yeah, that's true.
but it has a transformer in there.
Look, man, I pull the trigger, it makes electricity, and I'm good with that.
Maybe it's
you're
like
literally just pumping charge into the
I know.
air, and so if it makes its way back to ground, it's doing it through the air.
maybe because it's super high frequency. I think that those are like, multi megahertz. That the ground is just a suggestion. I don't know. Like it kind of capacitively couples.
But if you're pushing
ground.
charge this way, where there's like an opposite where the charge is missing, right? So like if it was battery powered and you're just shoving electrons out, but that one's not battery powered. Could it be battery powered?
I
or would
bought the one that Alan
work?
has where you just pull the trigger and it's just battery powered.
So, does anybody know how electricity works even? Or is it just sort of like a...
Maybe the eBay guys discovered a new electrical phenomenon.
a new form of electricity?
You're
Where
just
does it go?
ripping electrons out of your body
Oh, no.
every time you pull the trigger.
I mean, dude, honestly, when we were doing the high voltage stuff in the garage, that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
It felt like
You're
you could
losing
feel
your
it.
electrons.
It felt like the opposite though. It felt like if you could feel what it's like for there to be too many electrons. You walk into it and you're like, oh, this feels bad. Like this
Yeah.
feels dangerous.
Like your hair starts standing up on end and you're like 6 feet away.
Everything was kind of like tingly.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
It was awesome. It was just like, imagine the room. I don't know how it works, right? Because like, if you're building up charge on like the wood and stuff, like all the wood in the garage, it's not going to go to ground really easily. It's going to take a second, right? So you can. Is that what's happening? Is you're just like electrons are just like sticking to stuff?
I think so.
So like everything becomes like positively charged.
I'm trying to think of how that works because like, is it actually electrons that are moving through the air like that?
Yeah, I think it has to be.
Or is it just setting up like a big electric field and it's kind of like a giant like magnet type thing?
I couldn't even begin to make an educated guess. I feel like I know how electricity works, but that's like not even like, that's like something totally different at that point. Like that's just some witchcraft going on. High voltage is horrible, dude. I feel like the rules completely change once you like switch over to high voltage or high frequency. Like nothing makes sense anymore traditionally. Like, all right, what games did you said you had a game for an extra. What did you want to do?
Oh, I don't know. Should we do it now or should we save it for more people? It's kind of just like me quizzing you guys.
We could do Q&A then. Everybody seems to like we do the Q&As and then we get nicknames for people like Detergent Guy. Did he change his name to Detergent Guy?
Yeah, I saw that.
I love how active the Discord server is because like mine, there's like a private William Osman one and a public one. I don't go in the public one. I actually don't really understand Discord. I feel like if I was a teenager, I think I would kind of understand Discord, but I use Discord more like a group message, and so servers that have more than like 10 people in it sort of start to become just like, I don't really want anything to do with it.
Like it becomes its own community type thing.
Yeah, it's too much. Like it's way, you have to sort of be terminally online to understand what's going on. So maybe if that's what Discord is you have to be terminally online, then I don't know.
No, it's a different type of online, which is also,
worse.
It doesn't work well like in other types of online because people just think you're an idiot.
Yeah. Anyways, if you want to be an idiot, you can support us on Patreon and get access to our exclusive Safety Third Discord server. It's very active. I'm constantly abusing it. Like the other day, I just asked everybody.
They're constantly abusing us.
They're abusing us. I asked everyone if it was asbestos that I was tearing into, and they all said yes. Got it tested. Turns out it was not asbestos, but in the bedroom that tested positive for asbestos.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's only a couple square feet though. It's around the furnace and in the closet. I think the whole ceiling used to be asbestos popcorn. You know, when you look at the popcorn and you're like, it's this kind of like poop brown color. Like it looks really old, and you look at it and you're like, that's asbestos.
Yeah, but asbestos is fine.
Oh yeah, you can like.
Yeah, I took one look at it and I was like, if someone had put a gun to my head right now and I had to say if that was asbestos or not, I'd probably say.
So my question,
and it was.
My question though, and I looked it up briefly and I didn't see an answer.
Just paint it. That's what I would.
What is the dose to like fatality rate? Like it's usually like decent amount over a long period of time, right?
I talked to Alan about this because he did a pretty deep dive because his old apartment was made out of asbestos. You need to have a pretty large exposure for a pretty long time.
Yeah, usually.
But you also need to be below a certain age because once you hit 40, you're going to die of something else first.
Interesting.
Oh, really?
Sense? Yeah.
Like,
so,
the time it takes for the cancer to start.
The time
it's
like 20-something years usually. 20-ish.
Yeah. So if you're like, if you're 40 and you're exposed to it, your chances, I think, are much lower. Like, I'm not a scientist in this regard, but from the research that we've done, like, the older you are, the lower the risk because of the time it takes to develop into full.
We can all start smoking at 70, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. I mean, yeah, basically, you can do any, like, the older you get, the more dangerous stuff you can do because you're gonna die. Like, if you're on your deathbed,
then your body can't repair the damage as good. So you're just kind of like,
but
yeah, but
turbo cancer.
But things then you
smoke one cigarette when you're 80
turbo
and it's like
cancer.
No, Kevin,
cancer.
it still takes time to develop cancer, but you'll be dying quicker, which actually reduces your likelihood of getting cancer.
Statistically, it's basically impossible to get cancer from smoking cigarettes if you're on your deathbed. Yeah. Anyways, if you want to support us, you go to Patreon. See their Patreon links in the description. We got lots of tiers. The first tier, you get access to the Discord server. The second tier, I think you get a Polaroid every 3 months of one of us, and people seem to enjoy those. I don't understand, but they do. So,
I
right
enjoy
now,
taking them.
yeah, it is actually kind of fun. Plus, it's an excuse to just buy like 1,000 Polaroids at a time and just buy them in bulk. Walmart's the cheapest place to buy those, by the way, which I thought was kind of funny. I think that
Yeah, we
else
found
would be
that
cheap.
out.
You can't even buy them from like direct. You have to, but we're probably buying enough that we could buy them direct.
I think
but
Walmart
nope.
is, for whatever reason, they just stock the most of the disposable stuff. Nice, Kevin.
My name, Kevin.
I
Wait, we
actually
could
don't notice a
somebody in the
difference.
Discord server make an emoji
Kevin,
of
wait, keep-
this version of
Pull
Kevin.
it further
and
away. I
make
want to
it-
see your eyes get even smaller and keep going.
look directly into the camera lens.